Welcome you to the April 27th, 2022 regular meeting of the Governing Board of the Chandler Unified School District. Mrs. Nye, could you please do our roll call? Here.
Here.
Here. Here.
Here.
Thank you. Would you all please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, and please remain standing for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. We're going to begin with some routine business. Our first is to approve the minutes of the April 13th, 2022 regular board meeting. Could I please get a motion?
Madam President, let me find where I am here. I would like to move that we approve the minutes of the April 13th, 2022 regular board meeting.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor of approving the minutes of the April 13th, 2022 board meeting, please say aye.
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 Aye. The motion carries. Next, we have to approve and ratify payroll and accounts payable vouchers. Could I please get a motion?
Madam President, I would like to move that we approve and ratify payroll and accounts payable vouchers.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor of approving and ratifying payroll and accounts payable vouchers, please say aye.
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 Motion carries. Mr. Narducci, do we have some correspondence this evening?
Madam President, members of the board, I do have some correspondence this evening. It's from Matt Orlando, council member for Chandler Council, and says, "Dear Frank, after 2 years of hiatus, I am proud that our community came together to provide a better than ever Chandler Innovation Fair. As you know, this is the first year that Chandler Unified School District and the City of Chandler has jointly conducted a Science Innovation Fair. I am ecstatic to report it was a huge success with the students, teachers, and parents. I personally spoke with numerous teachers and mentors. They embraced the joint effort and event and look forward to next year. In fact, several teachers suggested we invite the high school bands to play throughout the day. I truly want to thank you, your staff, Renee Sweden and Brian Pomerantz, for their leadership and vision for our organizations to create another venue for us to partner. All the best, Matt Orlando, council member."
Thank you, Mr. Narducci. We appreciate working with the city and appreciate the letter of recognition from Mr. Orlando. Next, we have our student body reports. Malaysia Hardy from Chandler High School, are you here? What's going on at Chandler?
Good evening, Madam President, members of the board. My name is Malaysia Hardy. I'm the student body president over at Chandler High. I'm very happy to be here with you tonight, unfortunately for the last time. So first off, I'm going to start talking about what we've been doing. We held our final assembly of the school year. It was our spring sports assembly. It took place on the last day of third quarter, and it was the final full school spirit week as well. We still have our senior spirit week coming up very soon. So Assembly Day took place on Scrabble Day, so you can see in the picture my spirit commissioner Rosie dressed up as the Rock, and I dressed up as Miles Morales from Spider-Man. At this assembly, we had performances from our POM team as well as our improv and choreo. We introduced all of our spring sports for the season, including our girls flag football team who made it into the playoffs for the first time in Chandler history. So they did amazing. We're super proud of them. We also acknowledged our boys soccer team journey to state. They were really the underdogs, and they played a beautiful season. It was amazing. We also had our prom reveal. So our prom reveal, we are doing a Moonlight Garden theme. It's going to be taking place Saturday, May 7th at Events on Jackson. The school is super excited. I know I'm excited for my first prom. And then we also had a costume contest. So because we had the school spirit week as Scrabble Day, we picked a very involved student named Jackson who was dressed up as the Joker for the day. He came out with his theme song, And we pulled students from the crowd with the best costumes, and then we held a interactive audience like costume contest. Next up, we have our district convention. Chandler High hosted the convention, but all of our high schools in the district all worked on this. Chandler High's part was focused on the food and the water for the students. The food was great. The taste testing was even better. That was my favorite part. For the theme, it was Watch Us Lead, so my council dressed up as the Fairly Odd Parents. All of my council were Cosmos and Wandas, whereas I dressed up as the Buff Fairy, Georgian Von Strangle. That was my favorite, my little wand. That was interesting to make. It was really amazing to come together with all the high schools and finally see how it all played out. It's genuinely always been one of my favorite events since I was in student council in elementary school. I've always dreamt of being on that stage, so to finally end my senior year with it, it was amazing to come full circle. We also stayed true to our student council word of the year, perseverance. This was the first year that we had to hold the district convention outside, and it was amazing. It was hot, but we had enough waters. We adjusted, we adapted. We didn't over-adapt. But we utilized our Austin field, our football field, for activities and everything, and it was really amazing to see how it came together. Our freshmen recently completed their first ever student council event. Each grade is in charge of hosting an event for the year, and our freshmen did the Chandler's Got talent show. My vice president, Dakota Rains, and I were both the MCs, and it was genuinely amazing to watch how it all played out. All the prizes were donations from our community. We had enough prizes for first, second, and third place. First place was able to win up to $100 in prizes. Second place was $50 in prizes. And then third place was about $25 in prizes. So it's always nice to see how the Chandler community can come together and help support each other, even throughout times like this, silly little fun things. Our acts range from cultural dances to singing, dual performances, and one of my favorites and one of the most interesting was the slam poetry. We had a student come perform her own poem, and she had help from some of the students in the theater department to help act it out as well, and it was really great to see it come together. But my favorite part was when I got my time to shine. Last minute, due to technical difficulties, I was able to get the entire crowd to sing The Wheels on the Bus Go Round and Round. It was something. It was so good that the judges didn't need to give me feedback. I was good. I was good with it. And this isn't something I like talking about because it's about next year and I won't be there. But as of last week, our student council found out who our student body will be for the 22-23 school year. We also have our general body elections. We had our first informational meeting yesterday, and we have another one tomorrow. Our election process is made up of 3 different parts. It's interviews. You have to get a minimum of 100 signatures, and as well as popular vote. I like it. It's one of my favorite things because it's 3 different parts. It's not just a popularity contest. It really shows who you are and your character and stuff. We are also planning our election so early because we like to have some of our new council come to our banquet at the end of the year to kind of see how our council functions and to kind of pass the torch on to the younger ones. Last Friday, I'm so proud of Fashion Club. So our Fashion Club, who was just assembled this year, they had their fashion show for the first time. They partnered with our Sustainability Club as well as our Black Student Union in order to host this. Sustainability Club talked to the audience about the importance of taking care of our earth, as well as the effects of major corporations have. They also put out they had us sign, oh my goodness, I can't think of the word, but they had us sign something regarding helping with ending pollution and taking a step and learning about the importance of our digital footprint as well. Entry was completely free. It was actually a clothing drive. So they did a fashion show. It was run by students for students. All of the students who were models were either dressed by themselves or they were dressed by someone in the fashion club. And it was really great to see the different type of styles. We had 90s, we had different cultural styles, regional. It was amazing. They decorated the entire courtyard. They used string lights. They made their runway out of like flowers and like potted plants. And they even had their own photo booth. It was really great to see how this has come together and how efficient this brand new club was able to grow within just a year's time. And I think that's really important because Chandler focuses on always having a club for someone, and it goes to show that it's not just student council running everything and that everybody does have a fair chance to like put their name out there and get involved in something that they want to be involved in. I mentioned at our last meeting that we have a senior committee. One of our main things is our senior sunset. We started off our year with our senior sunrise. We invited all of our seniors out to watch the sunrise together to start off our senior year, and we are unfortunately planning our senior sunset to end the year off together. It's on the second to last day of school. We are partnering with the Chipotle right on Chandler Boulevard and Alma School if you want to stop by, from 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. on, I want to say, May 19th. Yes, May 19th, Thursday. So we plan on hosting this event for all of our seniors. We want to kind of give like a flashback. We're going to do a lot of like childhood like activities. We're planning on getting the giant rainbow parachute. I had a lot of seniors send that to me, so I'm sure they're excited for that, as well as games like red light, green light, and we also have performance from a live band of not only Chandler alumni, but Chandler seniors. So we're super excited for that in their set list. And unfortunately, that is it. I want to thank you all for your time.
Malaysia, just wait a second. I have a question for you. This is your last time with us, and I think we all would like to know, what are you going to be doing after graduation?
So I just got off of work, but I work at Starbucks. So I'm going to be taking advantage of the SCAP program. So I'm going to be doing ASU Online. I'm going to be heading over to study psychology for 4 years to get my bachelor's.
Wonderful. Thank you. Congratulations. And we have a little something for you, something to put on your desk. We appreciate you coming and sharing what's been going on at Chandler High for our board meeting. So thank you so much. You're welcome. Next, we have Megan Finder from Hamilton High School. What's been going on at Hamilton?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Megan Finder, and I'm the student body president of Hamilton High School. I'm just going to take a moment to switch over the presentation.
Okay.
Thank you for the opportunity to speak again on behalf of HHS. I am excited to share one final recap with you, and I hope you enjoy the recent events of our campus. Starting off on a very exciting day, as you know, March 31st was the annual Chandler Unified School District Student Council Convention. Every CUSD elementary, junior high, and high school student council celebrated leadership and spirit. We were able to experience the light of young leaders who are looking forward to pursuing student council at the next level. This was the first district convention in a few years, and we were so thankful to help host this incredible day at Chandler High School. Hamilton Theater Company competed in the Southwest Shakespeare High School competition and received 6 Superior Awards, awarded to 16 students for group, duo, and solo acting. Some of these scenes will be performed at Nationals in Indiana this summer. 8 band students and 13 orchestra students were selected to perform in the All-State Music Honors Festival and concert at NAU on April 7th through 9th. Hamilton's selection of string musicians was the most out of any high school in the state. This is the highest honor for a high school music student and can be achieved anytime during their 4 years, and we're very proud of their accomplishments. Up next are some pictures from our spring play, Alice in Wonderland. This show had a record-breaking amount of auditions and had a cast of 50 students. One drama student mentioned how grateful they were to have so much attraction to the department and how much it meant to have such an inclusive show. Hamilton Art Club was recognized on April 11th by Mayor Hartke and the Chandler City Council members for winning the Creative Award at the Chandler Innovation Fair. They were given a $500 scholarship award. Additionally, the art program has made it to the top 50 in the Vans Custom Culture Design Competition. If they make it to the top 5, the program has the chance to earn $50,000. Voting is now open through May 6th, so we are encouraging all of our Husky family and CUSD supporters to vote once a day on the Vans website. On April 14th, Hamilton celebrated our Students of the Year. This annual event and breakfast honored over 200 students who were read special notes from their teachers. The picture of the 2 students with trophies, Jordan and Jalen, won Scholar Athlete of the Year, nominated by their coaches as well. Hamilton Early Childhood Education students competed at the 2022 Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America State Leadership Conference in Tucson, March 28th through 30th. 8 students made history for the early childhood program by all achieving gold medals. It was also the first time that a team of students had to qualify to compete at the FCC LA National Leadership Conference. Mrs. McGettigan says she couldn't be prouder of their hard work and dedication. This slide is for 2 out-of-the-country field trips from this semester. AP World History traveled to Florence, Siena, Pisa, and Rome during March 16th through 20th, and AP Biology students and chaperones took a trip to Catalina Island from April 7th through 10th. They went snorkeling, did a squid dissection, and had a few labs with the Catalina Island Marine Institute. Last week at the CUSD District Night of Recognition, our very own Mrs. Downs was recognized as our staff award winner. She does so much for our athletic department, and we are so happy to have her. A school record by Sage Patzer for the 1,600-meter race, 4 state qualifiers, 7 personal records, and 1 season best all occurred at the Saguaro-hosted district track meet. Hamilton is happy to have a large track and field team of fabulous athletes that are headed into the end of their season. A big congratulations to the Lady Huskies tennis team for winning the title of 2022 CUSD Invitational Champions. They won 5 gold medals, 3 silver medals, and the most total games won. Former ASU football and Seahawks player Zach Miller spoke to our Captains Club recently. He spoke about the life after athletics and also dropped some financial literacy to our leaders. I put together a slide of individual recognition since my last presentation. Starting on the top left and moving across, Landry Howard, senior and Air Force Junior ROTC cadet, was recently announced as one of the 100 worldwide recipients of a 4-year Air Force ROTC scholarship to the university of her choice. The scholarship, or the J100 for short, provides benefits including tuition, on-campus housing, books, and a monthly stipend. Logan Bluchert, a track and field athlete, became the champion of the Chandler Rotary Elite Shot Put. She threw 40 feet and 6 inches to outthrow a girl from Las Vegas and claimed first place on March 26th. Chandler changemaker and Hamilton Husky Prisha Schroff designed a wildfire prevention system that uses satellite and weather data to predict hotspots using artificial intelligence. Previously, she won the Broadcom Masters Award for her work in STEM. Gary Biju won the VFW, Arizona State Department for the Voice of Democracy audio essay contest. The theme was America, Where Do We Go From Here? He is set to compete nationally. Gary was also recognized for winning second place and $250 for his part in the Rotary International 4-Way Test Speech Contest. Student athlete Dawson Hubbard is now a member of the National Football Foundation Scholar Athlete Team. Nominated by his coaches, the luncheon on April 23rd presented him with this honor. Katarina M. was one of the 2 girls from Arizona invited to compete in the Elite 11 regionals in Las Vegas. On May 1st, she will join other girls from around the Western region in showcase for female high school flag football players. The Hamilton family is extremely proud of her as this is her first year playing flag football, and we know she will do great things in Las Vegas. On April 14th, student government hosted our second movie on the field for our spring event. We showed The Goonies, watched the sunset, and enjoyed our time with a great group of Huskies. Finally, I've included some photos from our student government trip to Flagstaff. Last week, our council visited Flagstaff Extreme Ropes course for our yearly Stugo bonding trip. 5 of us finished the black course, and it was an all-around great time. We are looking forward to prom this weekend at the Odyssey Aquarium titled Night in Atlantis, and we've already sold out of our 1,200 presale tickets. As we near our final month of the 2021-2022 school year, I would like to reiterate how thankful I am to have the support system at Hamilton and in the Chandler Unified School District. Hamilton High School is such a special place to be. Ooh. And over my 4 years, I've heard nothing but the best from my peers about our students and faculty. I look forward to seeing some of you at graduation and for the rest of the upcoming bittersweet moments at HHS. Thank you.
Megan, could you tell us what your plans are for after graduation?
Yeah, of course. I'm going to be attending Arizona State University Barrett Honors College. I will be studying business management and then hopefully a little bit of sports business and maybe data analytics.
Fantastic. We also have a little something for you to put on your desk as a thank you for coming and sharing all the things that have been going on at Hamilton during the year. Thank you so much.
Madam President, our student presidents have been so amazing this year, and I know I've gotten to work with them a little this year, and I don't know if the audience and the community understands that these young ladies and gentlemen not only come here and are, advocates for their school and liaisons for their school, but they really step it up in the community. They step it up here, and they carry a full load, and they're doing some amazing things. So I'd like to make a proclamation that we give a 5th year to our senior presidents. Keep them around a little longer, because they, just when we get in the groove, they leave us. But again, thank you, and our other presidents as well. It's just, you do make a difference, and thank you for the impact.
Tonight, we also have some student recognitions, and Mr. Terry Locke is going to be our main MC for this. If the board could come down in front, and we will greet our students for the recognitions.
Wonderful. Thank you, Madam President, members of the board. This is our favorite part of the whole meeting. Get to recognize so many great kids today. We have a few special recognitions tonight. Let's start by bringing in the students who won the Arizona Science and Engineering Fair. Please come forward. Come in the building. These kids are from multiple schools. We'll give them a minute to get filed in here. And we'll talk about their awesome work. These are some of the state champions of the Arizona Science and Engineering Fair. Look how many there are. To that point, although Chandler Unified educates only 3% of the students in Arizona, CUSD students took home nearly 1/3 of the state's award-winning projects at the Arizona Science and Engineering Fair. Additionally, CUSD students represent 37% of the students qualifying for the prestigious International Science and Engineering Fair. We say this every year. Consistently, our students represent about 33% of the awards, and just so proud of them. AZ Science and Engineering Fair brings together hundreds of science fair first-place winners from across Arizona to compete for thousands of dollars in prizes and scholarships. We're just going to read off your names today. If you will wave and show off your awesome certificate, if you would. So, in Best of Fair High School Division ISEF qualifiers, Andre Glukowski from Arizona College Prep. And then Alex Krumov from Arizona College Prep. Yeah, it's okay to applaud. Nick Sobolev from Arizona College Prep. Alexis Lee from Hamilton High School. Alex Wong from Hamilton High School. Chloe Zahn from Hamilton High School. And Joshua Shunk from Perry High School. I should point out at this point, too, that there's a lot going on right now, including some recognition throughout the district, including National Honor Society at one of our high schools and so forth. So that explains some of the attendance, but man, are these kids something else. Elementary Division first place winners, Aditi Ganesh from Knox Gifted Academy. Kairu Dai from Arizona College Prep Middle School. Alexander Zhu, Arizona College Prep Middle School. Junior Division first place winners, Reva Shaw from Arizona College Prep Middle School. Helena Tang from Arizona College Prep Middle School. Ashwin Iyengar from Arizona College Prep Middle School. And I'm gonna mispronounce his name. I know it's very long and it's a beautiful name. I'm not gonna do justice for it. But Adishaka Chandrakanan. Can you say your name for us? Wow. She says it so much better than I. It's a beautiful name. Senior Division first place winners, Andre Klosky from Arizona College Prep High School. Again, Alex Krumov from Arizona College Prep. Nick Sobolev from Arizona College Prep High School. Alexis Lee from Hamilton High. Christopher Lua from Hamilton High. Alex Wong from Hamilton High. Chloe Zahn from Hamilton High. Dia Nath from Arizona College Prep. Joshua Shunk from Perry High School. And our Broadcom Masters Junior High School Special Divisions. Adiyaka, again, would you wave for us again? Kairu Dai from Arizona College Prep Middle School. Aditi Ganesh again from Knox Gifted. Mason Hill from Arizona College Prep Middle. Ashman Iyer from Arizona College Prep Middle School. Addison Lay from Arizona College Prep Middle School. Aubrey Maresca from Arizona College Prep Middle School. Hannah Nguyen from Arizona College Prep Middle School. Reva Shaw from Arizona College Prep Middle. Helena Tang from Arizona College Prep Middle School. Alexander Zhu from Arizona College Prep Middle School. Adiyaka again from Junior Division, Arizona College Prep. Ashwood Iyer from Arizona College Prep Middle School. In Senior Division, finally, Alex Wong from Hamilton High. Michael Fang from Hamilton High. Raheel Shah from Hamilton High. Cheyenne McCurry from Hamilton High School. Chloe Zahn from Hamilton High School. Prisha Shah from Hamilton High. Blanca Ashar, Hamilton High School. Trisha Ponzi from Hamilton High. Three more names, Alexis Lee from Hamilton High. Chloe Zahn from Hamilton High. And Alex Wong from Hamilton High School. Please join me in one more round of applause. These are all state champions. You kids are so amazing. You make us all so proud. And you can go join your parents now if you'd like to. Yeah. Congratulations to all these students. What a fantastic job you did. Next, we have the cheer and pom teams come forward. If you'll come to the front of the boardroom, please. Ken James, or call them all in. Thank you. They brought some nice hardwares too, didn't they? Beautiful. We have several teams that did well. We have a couple teams that could not be here tonight, but we're going to celebrate two tonight. Megan Besh's team from Hamilton High School took the state title in Open Division Small Jazz at the AIA Arizona State Cheer and Dance Competition on March 12th. Hamilton also won third in Division I Pom competition. Congratulations to Megan and her team. Megan, would you wave? And also Perry High School took home state championships in Division I Varsity Show, Cheer, and Open Division Medium Jazz at AIA State Cheer and Dance Competition. They're coming in now. And again, so they're all in the room now. Perry High School took home state championships in Division I varsity show, cheer, and open division medium jazz at the AA's Arizona State Cheer and Dance Competition in March. And Perry also won second in Division I all-girls stunt. Congratulations, ladies. Perry High School has a team that couldn't be here tonight, too. They also took home first place in Division I varsity pom and Division I through 4 varsity jazz small at the Arizona State Cheer and Pom tournament earlier this year. So congratulate them as well. They could not be here tonight. Thank you again. Wonderful job again this year. Thank you. State champions. If you come over and shake the board's hand. You bet, thank you. You bet. Congratulations. Nice job, you bet.
Thank you.
You bet. Ken James, bring on the National History Day champions. These are our National History Day state champions. They represent 3 schools. We have 5 kids tonight. From Arizona College Prep, could not be here tonight. Ethan Desai, he did a story on, he researched Baldwin versus Buckley, the debate of the American dream. He's from Arizona College Prep Middle School. Danby Fogaranti from Arizona College Prep. Project was diplomacy through jazz and a junior individual website. Also from Arizona College Prep High School, Yeti Kapoor, the Route 40 saga, a road of racism, debate, and diplomacy. Please raise your hand or wave to us. And from Chandler High School, Emma Weiss, You've Got a Friend in Me, the importance of grassroots diplomacy in post-war reconciliation as demonstrated by German-American friendship clubs. A very deep study. And from Willis Junior High School, Hannah Gertzberger, Abigail Johnson, Alexia Heaton, and Clara Open. They did a project on the Equal Rights Amendment, Race to Ratification Junior Group Performance, and they're also competing at the national level next. They've qualified as state champions, so congratulations to all of you. Next are the FCCLA students. Come on in. Come on in and crowd the front of the stage. So let's please congratulate the Basha High School FCCLA early childhood students on their achievement at FCCLA state competition. It's called Family, Career, and Community Leaders of America, if you're wondering. 7 students qualified as national contenders, placing first or second in the state in their competitive event, earning gold medals and moving on to FCCLA Nationals in San Diego, California this summer. I want to join you in San Diego. Jared Alexander, Madeline Moore, and Annabelle Sanborn. And a special congratulations to Annabelle, who earned a perfect score. Annabelle, wave to us. Additional media awards include 3 silver, Savannah Bloom, Paige Nolan, Kelia Cole, and 1 bronze to Hannah Roberts as well. And also, big congratulations to Paige Nolan, awarded a $1,000 FCCLA senior scholarship. These 7 students also were recognized for their successful completion of the FCCLA national program Power of One and will be recognized at the Nationals. They include Jared Alexander, Sarah Alexander, Layla Carrillo, Emily Matheny, Madeline Moore, Paige Nolan, and Annabelle Sanborn. You made us all so proud. little bit more too. Additionally, our FCCLA Basha chapter was recognized and awarded the Gold Chapter Achievement Award in second place state project for Lead for Change. Finally, one amazing student from Basha FCCLA, early child, who was elected to serve on the 2022-23 Arizona Executive State Council. Congratulations to Kalia Cole, the state president for next year. This is a career technical student leadership organization with over 3,000 members across the state. What an honor, and this team is led by Melanie Alexander. Congratulations. Next will be Chandler High School. We can bring the Chandler High School students in. Now you come over and shake the board's hand. Oh, we're all here. Hello, yes. I saw the sea of red. I'm sorry. From Christy, they're led by Christy Hernan, who's over here to your right. They're accomplishing, yeah. Okay, next is the Chandler High School group, led by Christy Herndon. Accomplishments include the following: a gold medal to Kiara Wynn for 11 national programs in action in running for this National Scholarship Award for project. Layla Alwili, 11th grader for Nutrition and Wellness Gold. Liz Guzman and Anamaris Lopez Morales combined for 12 chapter in review portfolio. Anamaris also won the FCCLA scholarship for $1,500. And Colin Ryan for Teach and Train, and the Wolves captured as a team the outstanding chapter bronze. Congratulations. Next is Hamilton FCCLA program. They're not here? Well, the good news, oh, here we go, okay. Okay.
They are here. Yes, they are.
All the red jackets to be for a curve. It's awesome. Now, we heard about them earlier because we had a wonderful presentation by their student body president, but I'm going to repeat a little bit of that. It's worth repeating. It was a gold medal sweep for Hamilton early childhood education students who competed at the 2022 event. 8 students made history for the ECE program by all achieving gold medals. It was also the first time to have a team qualify to compete at the National Leadership Conference as well. Natalie DeMarco, Grace Gile, Kate Hottie, Ava Hree, Maddie Shantz, and Katie Weir competed on the Focus on Children category. And the team of Samantha Mendez and Mariel Rodriguez competed in the chapter service project category. Their project scored with the top projects in the state, which qualified them for the Nationals in San Diego in June. Hamilton High School and EVIT senior Brenna Getmer and her EVIT fashion design and merchandising team received gold medals along with qualifying for nationals at the state level conference. And they also they were awarded $5,000 renewable scholarships, $5,000 a year renewable scholarships. We thank you. Congratulate all of you. If you come over and shake the board's hand, that'd be wonderful.
After this one, go back up into the board
Okay.
scholarship.
Okay, I'll do that next.
She was supposed to be first.
Okay, sorry. Thank you. That's the sound of success, isn't it? So next is the Hamilton High School Academic Decathlon team. While some of us were exploring a beach or other spring break destination, the Academic Decathlon team was focused on achievement. The Huskies won their 4th consecutive state title. The team of Chloe Zahn, Andy Ma, Kenny Wang, Nava Zenith, I'm going to butcher this name, I know, Unikrishnan, Sanvi Lamba, Shreya Bathula, Aaron Shabarulu, Angela Sun, and Taryn Price, and of course sponsor Carla Turner and assistant coach Beth Trotty. The Huskies were not done yet. They went on to compete last week. They do a lot of weekend work, don't they? But they went on to compete last week against 47 schools from across the U.S. and China, and we're proud to announce that the team placed 4th in Division I. In addition, team members won the following individual awards: Chloe Zahn, Art, Silver, and Andy Ma, Literature. Kenny Wang, Science, won a bronze. Shreya Bathula won a Science bronze. I got my beautiful name here, Navaneeth. Yes, thank you for that help. When in the interview category, won a silver award. In varsity, Taryn Priest won speech bronze. Aaron Chabrolu, mathematics bronze, and Carmina Sanchez Rodriguez, Visruth Anand, and Nisant, pronounce it for me. Yeah, okay. Sisla also competed in the individual nationals online competition. So I want to congratulate the team for just a wonderful 4 years in a row, state champions. Congratulations, students, and Carla. You're next, I promise. And we have one more recognition tonight. This is very important to the board. You have a very unique thing you do here in Chandler Unified where you sponsor a board scholarship, and we're pleased to have Jen Hewitt from the Chandler Education Foundation present that.
Thank you very much. Good evening, Madam President, members of the Governing Board, Superintendent Narducci. My name is Jen Hewitt, and I'm the Executive Director of the Chandler Education Foundation. And I am both proud and honored to share with you the winner of the CUSD Governing Board Scholarship. She's won a number of scholarships. She is an exemplary student for CUSD, a perfect example of what a CUSD student would do and represent Chandler out in the world. And so I would like to present to you Ada Maris Lopez Morales.
That concludes our recognition tonight. Favorite part of the meeting, so fun.
It's amazing how many accomplishments our students achieve in this district, and not only through athletics, but also through academics. Just amazing the kind of awards that they get, and actually the number of scholarships that they get. So next we will move on to our citizens' comments. We have 2 this evening, so the time limit will be 3 minutes. Mr. Locke.
Thank you. We had no electronic comments today either, by the way. So during public comments, members of the governing board may not discuss items that are not specifically identified on the agenda. Therefore, pursuant to state statute, action taken as a result of public comments is limited to directing staff to review the matter, responding to criticism, or scheduling the matter for further consideration and decision at a later date. The board president reserves the right to ensure that speakers present on topics that are within the board's jurisdiction. Everyone is asked to present their comments in a respectful and courteous manner. Profanity or threats of harm will not be tolerated. Our first speaker tonight is Kurt Rohrs of Chandler, talking about parenting.
Thank you. My name is Kurt Roars. I'm a parent in this district, and I'm here to speak to you tonight about parenting. I understand that district employees will undergo a renewed push for social and emotional learning this summer during their teacher professional development classes. What seems to be missing in SEL doctrine is any significant emphasis on marriage, family, and parenting. Seems to be a very significant oversight. There is a deep concern that this is where many of the social challenges your students face actually originate. It should be addressed in a meaningful way. Instead, the emphasis often seems to be on de-parenting, in which the role which parents play in their children's lives is de-emphasized and replaced by counselors and social workers employed by the district. They assume the role of raising the child with whole child concepts that can emphasize child sexuality, racial oppression, and social activism. In the last few generations, we've gone from two-parent families as the norm to one-parent families, and now seem to be proceeding to the concept of no-parent family, where the state, in the form of the student school, assumes the role of raising the child. This concept, which is derived from Marxist doctrine, is about as ill-conceived as the defund police movement, which is rapidly losing popularity as crime increases rapidly in at-risk communities. The effective de-parenting doctrine can only serve to enhance the disintegration of the family as a basic social unit to the detriment of the community. Under current Arizona statute, parents have the right, as well as a responsibility, for raising their children as they see best. Parent perspectives are diverse, but must be respected. There is no one-size-fits-all solution based on state policy that could be successfully deployed. Schools are primarily responsible for the academic education of children. Although districts have significant resources available for social assistance, they should only assist with the full knowledge, consent, and participation of the parents. Districts should only have a supporting role and not a primary role. I encourage the district to adopt and promote policy, curriculum, and professional development training that prioritize the importance of marriage, family, and parenting so that our children have a better foundation how to proceed into adulthood. It would be very helpful if the district publishes these teacher professional development materials so the public can see what you are doing and
30
be
seconds.
comfortable with it. There really should be no reason to conceal anything from them. Thank you.
Next is Devon Sims of Chandler, talk about minority student rights.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Dawn Shim, and I'm a sophomore at Hamilton High School. I'm speaking on the behalf of Support Equality AZ Schools, which is a community organizing initiative I started in opposition to discriminatory actions against minority students in state and local governance. This movement is founded and run by students such as myself. I'm here today to urge you to specifically redefine goals for equity and non-discrimination in the 2023 political agenda. This current state legislative session has induced an influx of bills that threaten the safety of minority students within this area. Even with CUSD's current standing equity goals, I, as a student, as well as many of my peers, do not feel safe. One of my peers is an LGBTQ student, and she, along with a few of their friends, have experienced ongoing harassment regarding their gender expression and sexual orientation. Many of these encounters involve them being hit by, and I quote, apples and other paraphernalia in the lunchroom. Although she has repeatedly reported these issues of discrimination, physical and verbal harassment, and violence to the school administration, the harassment has only increased in severity. Their concerns have been entirely disregarded, and this is not a one-time instance. I too often hear students using slurs historically weaponized against minorities casually in the hallways without intervention from school staff or repercussions. They have absolutely no right to be harming other students trying to learn in a safe and an affirming environment. With Chandler's equity goals still in place, it is entirely unreasonable that such bigoted behavior happens and further still goes unpunished by our educative system. As students, we deserve to have safe learning environments where we are treated with respect. I urge you as board members to define equity goals more specifically and to better address ongoing issues of marginalization in your schools, especially that of LGBTQ students. Students who are not only being targeted by peers, but whose well-being is too often ignored by administrators and educators, and who have been the targets of attacks by Arizona lawmakers in this legislative session. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. I appreciate our citizens coming out to talk to us about some of their concerns. Thank you. We will now move on to our consent agenda, which will be presented by Mr. Narducci.
Madam President, members of the board, out-of-state student travel pre-planning, out-of-state field trip pre-planning form for ACP High School and Camille Castile High School is provided. Following governing board pre-approval, Dr. Gilbert will monitor trip arrangements before providing final approval. The governing board will receive a summary of the travel arrangements quarterly. Again, final trip approval will be determined on a case-by-case basis and will be contingent upon current health guidelines or conditions in those areas. Under monetary gifts, request the approval of the monetary gifts generously donated to Chandler Schools totaling $33,191.81. Under donations, we request the approval of the items donated to Chandler Schools totaling $41,153. Under contract increase for Train US, the board approved annual contracts with an estimated spending on June 9th, 2021. At that time, $150,000 was estimated for Tran US, Incorporated, utilizing Omnia Partners contract for HVAC products, installation services, and related products. The district is requesting an increase of $150,000 for a total estimated expenditure of $300,000 to Tran US Incorporated for additional units that may need replacing and or repair during the remainder of the 21-22 school year. K through 6 grade English language arts, ELA, resource adoption, Spanish translation. There's a demand for vertically articulated comprehensive K-6 English language arts resources to meet the requirements of the Arizona English language arts standards. On November 10th, 2021, the governing board approved the curriculum and instruction team's recommendation of Houghton Mifflin Harcourt's intro reading for grades K through 5. At the time of approval, Arriba la Lectura, the title of the Spanish translation of the intro reading resources, was not listed on the agenda. There is no additional cost, as the board already approved the 6-year cost of $245,272.76, which includes the Arriba la Lectura Spanish resources. In accordance with ARS 15-721 and COSD policy IJJ, the materials were on display in the main lobby of COSD's Instructional Resource Center, IRC, for 60 days beginning September 9th, 2021 for public viewing and input. Digital access to the materials were also provided on a 60-day review and were available to the public viewing via the following website, which was www.cosd80.com, page-113622. We recommend approval of the above referenced Spanish translation for English language arts resources for grades K through 6. And the last one is under human resources. We recommend the employment separation and compensation of those included.
Thank you, Mr. Narducci. Could I please get a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay. All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please say aye.
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 Motion carries. Mr. Narducci, did you have any comments after this on the HR?
No, I
Or
didn't.
okay, thank you. On marketing, communication?
I could now. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Thank you, Wendy Nance, Dr. Nance. Yes, we're proud to announce that Stephanie Ingersoll will be joining our team as our marketing and strategy communications expert. She comes to us from serving not only in for ABC, but also worked with Queen Creek and most recently in Kyrene. And she will join our team, and we're excited to get her started. I think she's excited as well. I think she will bring a little more depth as we're looking, and she's excited to see the quality team that we have already established here, and is excited to start with some big planning. And her goal is to work for the best district in the state and making it the most recognized district in the nation. I think it's pretty lofty, but we'll start with that.
Sounds good. Thank you, Mr. Narducci. We have a number of action items this evening, and most of them are concerning some construction stuff. And so our first is Hamilton High School Performing Arts Center audio system upgrade. And Mr. Tom Dunn will be presenting.
Actually, Madam President, I'm doing this one. He's doing the rest of them.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Mr. Fletcher?
Madam President, members of the board, Hamilton High School opened in 1998. The audio equipment in the Performing Arts Center is the original and in need of replacement. The district brought CCS presentation systems in to evaluate and recommend how to move forward. The proposed upgrade would put Hamilton High School on par with our other high schools. The cost of this upgrade is $199,739.89. The district will procure this upgrade with CCS presentation systems via an Arizona state contract which complies with all school procurement rules. Recommend approval of CCS presentation systems in the amount of $199,739.89 for the Hamilton High School Performing Arts Center audio system upgrade.
Thank you. Just a comment, our paperwork and on board docs is showing a different amount based on a revised
Correct.
in the amount of $198,987.44. Okay. Could I please get a motion?
Madam President, I'd like to move to approve the funding of Hamilton High School's audio system for the Performing Arts Center.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. Are there any questions for Mr. Fletcher on this? Mr. Fletcher, does, when you say it's on par with the other high schools, so is it the same company that has provided equipment?
Correct.
So it's going to be...
CCS presentation systems is our audiovisual preferred vendor.
Okay. And approximately how long will it take for them to do these upgrades?
We can't get a lead time on product until they get a receipt of order.
Okay.
So we know the Yamaha stuff is probably 4 months out, but there's other things that they can do as far as cabling and other equipment. But right now, we can't get a lead time until they get an order and that order's placed with the vendors.
And so will the auditorium be unusable during
Will
this
not.
time?
We are spending some money right now doing some upgrades with the current system to get us through the April and May performing arts season.
Great. Are there any other questions? All right. All those in favor of approving CCS presentation systems for the Hamilton High School Performing Arts Center project, please, or system upgrade, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Our next item is Fry Elementary Sewer Rehabilitation. Welcome, Mr. Dunn.
Thank you for having me, Madam President, governing board members. My name is Tom Dunn, current Director of Construction and Capital Projects for Chandler Unified School District. So Fry Elementary School was built in 1978. The sewer lines need restoration as they're showing signs of cracking and are beginning to accumulate debris. Continued accumulation of debris will eventually cause a backup in the lines. So the school also has 48 sewer vent pipes that need replacement due to cracking and/or complete blockage. District will contract with Concord General Contracting via one GPA job order contract, which complies with all school procurement rules in the amount of $962,402. The scope of the work for the project includes the following: trenchless pull in place structural lining for main, lateral, and branch lines totaling 1,706 feet. Remove 48 iron vent pipes, replaced with ABS piping, tile and drywall patchback and repair. Recommend approval of Concord General Contracting in the amount of $962,402 for the Fry Elementary Sewer Rehabilitation.
Thank you, Mr. Dunn. Could I please get a motion?
Madam President, I would like to move to contract with Concord General Contracting for $962,402 for the Fry Elementary Sewer Rehabilitation.
I'll second.
All right, are there any questions for Mr. Dunn?
Is this going to be done in off hours, or is it going to be done in the summertime, or?
Well, we're hoping to start this summer, especially with the pulled in place and the main sewer line and the branch lines. Then we're gonna have to coordinate with the school specifically if next action item is passed as well with the millwork. The lead time on the millwork might be an issue, so we're gonna have to coordinate, but definitely on off times. No classrooms will be shut down, sewer won't be shut down.
Is the grease interceptor staying the same?
No, grease interceptor is also included in this because it is original. That'll be a complete remove and replace.
Could you explain the pull-in-place process, or what that exactly is?
Yeah, so it's a liner that you pull. They do a lot of water jet in the sewer line to clear debris, and as they pull this liner in place, it also clears the debris and relines the inside of the pipe so that we don't have to actually excavate the original pipe and replace with new. So there's a cost savings, but then it will last for us.
Okay, because I know we had, Mr. Fletcher, we had to dig out some at one of the
Mrs.
other.
Marsden, because this is an all under one roof concept, if we have to go in and replace all the underground, we will shut Fry down.
Okay.
So Mr. Dunn and his team found an alternative method that we can get in with a liner. And this way we're not jackhammering and saw cutting through the middle of the campus. So we believe this is a very good alternative to avoid that.
Did they camera the lines and everything already?
Yes.
Is there's no bellies in it?
No, just debris. We had some leaking and some debris buildup, which was the concern.
We found it, Mr. Olive, because we had some valves leaking in the wall as it came up from underground.
And how long is the lifetime of this particular pull-in-place type product?
I don't have that in front of me, but I can certainly follow up with you on that.
I mean, is it similar to new, or is it half the life roughly? I'm just guess.
I don't know. I'm
Okay.
totally guessing.
My guess is we have carbon steel underneath, and after 40 years, it's going to start rusting out. With this kind of liner, we should be at least 20, 25 years without having to touch it, would be my guess.
Sounds good. I don't want to have to redo it in 3 or 4 years or something. So, okay, great.
Mr. Dunn doesn't want to either.
I didn't think he did, so awesome. Are there any other questions? Okay, all those in favor of approving Concord General Contracting for the Fry Elementary Sewer Rehabilitation, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Next is the Fry Elementary classroom casework.
So in conjunction with the sewer rehabilitation, as I stated, the casework is original at Fry Elementary. There is a need to replace due to being original, the condition it's in, plus the invasive nature of the sewer repiping. District will contract with Concord General Contracting via one GPA job order contract, which complies with all school procurement rules in the amount of $808,907. Scope of the work for the project includes remove and replace existing casework and solid surface countertops, remove and replace classroom VCT, remove sinks and associated plumbing, and install existing sinks back into the new casework. Recommend approval of Concord General Contracting in the amount of $808,907 for the Fry Elementary classroom casework.
May I please get a motion?
Madam President, I'd like to move that we contract with Concord General Contracting for the Fry Elementary casework.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay. Are there any questions?
I thought we got out of the business of VCT. You're putting back VCT?
in small areas, but we're also going to put some track out carpet back in. Yes, and we did that to reduce the cost of
It's
having
just
to
at
polish and grind the concrete.
just at the sink areas?
Yes, correct.
Anything else?
No.
And what, when you talk about casework, could you please describe
Sure, that's-
for everyone what pieces this includes?
Yeah, that built-in bookshelves and storage for teachers that we put in classrooms. At Fry, it's on the side of the classroom that runs the length of the wall. That also includes the sink, so it's all one piece. So they have some wardrobes, some high storage, and then some countertop, and then bookshelves underneath.
Okay. Thank you. Anything else? Okay, we'll go ahead and vote. All those in favor of approving Concord General Contracting for the Fry Elementary classroom casework, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. Next, we have the San Marcos fire alarm system. Mr. Dunn?
Yes, the fire alarm at San Marcos Elementary was last updated in 1993. It is in need of replacement. The current fire alarm control panel is not programmable, and the most recent fire inspection deemed it the alarm non-compliant. District will contract with Copper State Fire Protection, which is on the Mojave contract, which complies with all school procurement rules in the amount of $189,724. Scope of work for the project includes the following: remove current FACP devices and wiring that is not compatible, install new notifier adjustable fire alarm NFS2-3030, install new LCD 160 annunciator, and install all required modules to monitor sprinkler riser flow and tamper switches. Recommend approval of Copper State Fire Protection in the amount of $189,724 for the San Marcos Elementary fire alarm system.
Thank you. Could I please get a motion?
Madam President, I'd like to move that we contract with Copper State Fire Protection for the replacement of the San Marcos fire alarm system.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right. Are there any questions for Mr. Dunn? Yes, Ms. Love?
So the last time that this was replaced was in 1993. Like, how often do these need to be replaced?
Yeah, 30 years is usually the life cycle. Right now, we can't program the devices back to the panel,
Okay.
which is why it comes back non-compliant, still functioning, but comes back as non-compliant because we can't program the devices.
Is it because they're not addressable devices, or is it because it's not programmable?
Yeah, it's not programmable. The new device that we put in and some of the wiring associated with it,
They can't use older devices?
correct, they're becoming hard to find.
Do we have any other schools that are in the same situation that we're going to need to be looking at doing this to others? I see a nod over there
You are
from
correct,
Mr.
Mrs. Marsden. We have several schools that are on our radar as far as coming up that are going to have the FACP, the wiring, and the devices changed out.
So like 15 years ago, when the state facility boards first started helping out with things, they replaced fire alarm systems with new fire alarm systems. Is there any effort to get the state facility board to help out?
The SFB has no money at this point. They don't have any money until July 1st.
Yeah.
And the City of Chandler Fire Marshal wants this taken care of. Let's remember, this is an older site. It's not sprinklered either. So the FACP is our frontline defense on it.
Okay. Any other questions?
No.
All right, all those in favor of approving Copper State Fire Protection for the San Marcos Elementary Fire Alarm System, please say aye.
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 Motion carries. Next, we have NP 5000 Building and Grounds Improvement Projects. Mr. Dunn?
Yes, so as part of the 2021-22 NP 5000 process, 7 building and grounds improvement projects were identified by district administration and are being recommended for approval. The district will contract with Concord General Contracting via one GPA job order contract, which complies with all school procurement rules in the amount of $795,517. Project includes work at CTA Goodman, placing a 30 by 22 fabric shade structure over a concrete slab in the parent pickup area. At Anderson Elementary, placing 2 37 by 26 fabric shade structures over playground equipment, also putting a concrete slab in a high traffic area on the west side of the school. At ACP Middle School, 2,600 square feet of concrete for outdoor dining area, block fence around the SRP gear, and outdoor ceramics kiln, and rerouting a drainage issue as they come out of the cafeteria. At Bogle Junior High, 84 feet of steel fencing and 3 man gates with panic hardware. The fence will help funnel visitors into the front office, and it will keep all students within the gated area. Galveston Elementary, replacing a rolling kitchen steel gate with 2 double swing gates. At Basha High School, 2,200 square foot concrete for baseball bleachers and 1,200 square feet of concrete for softball bleachers. The last one on the second page is at the Perry Ox Building, as part of our network technology tenant improvement, we would add 2 toilets, relocate 1 urinal, and remove 2 sinks and replace with a sink. Recommend approval of Concord General Contract in the amount of $795,517 for the MP 5000 building and grounds improvement projects.
Thank you. I just, on our agenda, I didn't notice this before, but for the fabric shade structures, it's indicated as inches instead of feet in those abbreviations on ours. So just to note that the correction is that those are feet, not inches. So, Donna, I don't know if you need to make a note on that or not, but for what's written, because it would be a little ridiculous to have them as inches. So could I get a motion, please?
Madam President, I'd like to make a motion to approve Concord General Contracting for the MP 5000 projects as outlined by Mr. Dunn.
Is there a second? Thank you. Are there any questions? Mr. Olive, you look like you have one.
Yeah, what fund is all this money coming out of?
2019 bond.
Anything else?
No.
Any other questions? Nope. Okay. All those in favor of approving Concord General Contracting for all the different building and grounds improvements, as Mr. Dunn said, please say aye.
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 Thank you. The motion carries. Now we'll move on to Castile High School tennis courts and concessions facility.
Castile High School was built in 2015 with 4 tennis courts. Chandler Unified School District comprehensive high schools have 8 tennis courts, which is necessary to complete high school AIA Arizona Interscholastic Association matches during daylight hours after school. To bring Castile High School on par with the other high schools, it's proposed to construct 8 tennis courts and a 2,718 square foot concessions and restroom building that would serve both the tennis courts and the Chandler Unified School District beach volleyball courts. 4 existing courts will be turned into outdoor basketball courts for the physical education department. A request for qualifications was issued, and Chase Building Team was selected as the general contractor of record. The district negotiated a guaranteed maximum price in the amount of $4,396,202, which the district believes is fair and reasonable given the current market conditions. Recommend approval of Chase Building Team in the amount of $4,396,202 for the construction of the Castile High School tennis courts and concessions facility.
Thank you, Mr. Dunn. Could I get a motion, please?
Madam President, I'd like to make a motion to approve Chase Building Team to construct the Castile High School tennis courts and concessions facility.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Are there any questions? Mr. Fletcher, can I ask why 8 tennis courts weren't built on the site originally?
Because the site was never going to be as large as it is today with the student body, and it was the available land we had at the time.
And we have purchased more land for
We
this?
have purchased, well, as you are aware, Castile High School is 4 different land purchases in its entirety. So we did what we had to do at the beginning to get it operational. It's been a concern from the high school, from Castile, since they had 7-12 full. And Mr. Narducci believes it's time to fix that, and they're right. Trying to compete. So a varsity tennis match has 5 singles, 3 doubles matches. And you're trying to get all those done on 4 tennis courts while there's still light available. Freshman tennis is in the fall. varsity tennis is in the spring. So we have a little bit more light in the spring, but in the fall, getting those matches completed is unreasonable.
And for the beach volleyball courts, are they just using a portable restroom system right now over there?
That is correct.
And so this will replace, the concessions and restroom building will be a permanent structure now.
Correct.
And
They'll be
that will
shared by both facilities.
by both.
Castile Tennis and CUSD Beach Volleyball.
Great.
Madam President, also, just a reminder that the volleyball, the beach volleyball is able to be used by other schools in our district, and so they'll be able to utilize that concession facility and those bathrooms as well. And I do believe there's going to be a repurposing of the restrooms that exist there, so those won't be an investment that isn't reutilized on the Castile campus. Is that correct, Mr. Dunn?
That's correct. The plan for the portable restrooms, we're going to take it back. Support Services is going to revamp it and get it in good shape, and then redeploy it back to Castile out between their varsity baseball and varsity softball fields.
Okay, great.
They have a long walk from those fields to the restrooms, so this will help.
And of course, there has to be specific infrastructure that when that portable is deployed, that has to be put in to service that facility.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct.
And that'll be coming to us probably next year.
Potentially.
Potentially, okay.
We don't know. We have to identify where the domestic water is to make sure that we have water. And then we have to be able to make sure that we can get the vendor in and out to service them. So we still have some evaluation on the site to do before we pick a location. But finding the domestic water to flush is our challenge right now.
Okay,
And how far we have to trench, and that will determine whether we have to bring it back to you or not.
okay, great.
Mr. Fletcher, that campus has had its issues. Were they economic or were they speed?
I'm not sure I understand the question.
Well, you didn't have a parking lot, for example. They didn't have an entrance. Again, was that a speed in building the building, or were there economic issues that you didn't have enough funding?
I think it was purely the campus exploded and we never saw it coming. So, I mean, the campus opened with under 1,000 in year one, and Craig, we projected that to be 750, 800. So we were 200 over our initial projection. I don't think we ever saw the open enrollment coming like we have.
Okay. There's the third, right?
I think that campus, we were hoping it was going to be like 1,600 or something capped or maximum, and it's
22, Craig, 5 per
or
grade
maybe it was
level?
22.
Was
yeah.
it 500 per grade level?
Yes, it was planned about 500 per grade level.
For the record, every high school that I've known this district to build, we've over-exceeded it.
Very true.
Yeah. All right. If there's no other questions on this, we'll go ahead and vote. All those in favor of approving Chase Building Team for the construction of the Castile High School tennis courts and concessions facility, please say aye.
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 Opposed? The motion carries. Next, we have a modular relocation from Haley Elementary to CTA Liberty.
Yeah,
Mr.
CTA
Dunn.
Liberty has added a preschool program and is experiencing growth in enrollment, requiring relocation of 2 modular buildings from Haley Elementary. McCarthy Building Companies has been selected via 1GPA job order contract, which complies with all school procurement rules in the amount of $570,485. Scope of the work for this project includes modular relocation from Haley Elementary to CTA Liberty, concrete, electrical, earthwork, drywall and paint, fire protection, special systems, security and fire alarm, site utilities, fencing, and landscape. McCarthy Building Company's proposed cost of $570,485, and the district believes, based on the current market conditions, this is a fair and reasonable cost. Recommend approval of McCarthy Building Company's in the amount of $570,485 for the modular relocation from Haley Elementary to CTA Liberty.
Thank you. Could I please get a motion?
Madam President, I'd like to move to approve the modular relocation from Haley to Liberty.
Second?
I'll second.
Thank you. Are there any questions?
This is two portables, so it's 4 classrooms?
Correct.
So we're paying it, so if that's 3,600 square feet, we're paying about $160 a square foot for these guys. Did we think about doing a permanent building, or?
We're currently at like $370 a square foot is current construction costs.
Yeah.
I don't know that we have the water retention availability, because once we put a permanent structure in, as you know, we have to retain the water that's generated from it. So in this case, we're limited to the spaces that we have available, so I don't think it's economically feasible nor practical at this point to put a permanent building in.
Okay.
How does this compare price-wise to moving modular buildings in the past?
So last time we moved a modular to CTA Liberty, I think, if I remember, it was $306,000 for one. So we'll be
Okay.
moving two for less than double, and there were two, in the schedule of values, there were two concerns that we followed up with McCarthy, one being electric. It was almost triple of what we paid the previous time. They went out, rebid it, and was able to reduce the cost by, I think, $50,000. And the other is site utilities, which just is up in general with the current market conditions.
Okay.
So based on that, I still think it's definitely fair based on what we paid last time.
Yeah, in my head, it was like in the low 200s to move one of them, and so.
10 years ago.
Yeah, I know, it's been a while. Yeah. It just shocks me to see how expensive it is to move these modulars and get everything up and running for them, so. Are there any other questions? All those in favor, but I also know CTA Liberty obviously is needing the classroom space, so, especially with the preschool program being added too. To beat the what?
It's also the fastest way to meet their needs for next year.
Meet their needs, okay, thank you. So all those in favor of approving McCarthy Building Companies for the modular relocation from Haley to CTA Liberty, please say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries. And our last action item for this evening is the Emergency Responder Radio Communications System install at Basha High, Chandler High, and Hamilton High Schools.
So the City of Chandler has adopted the 2018 International Fire Code, Section 510, as the applicable code for in-building enhancement, testing, system installation, and system verification. City of Chandler amended the 2008 IFC to 28-17 Emergency Responder Radio Communication, Section 510.1 and 510.4.1.2 of the code, and hereby amended, and it reads as follows. 510.1 Emergency Responder Radio Communications. Buildings shall have approved radio coverage for emergency responders within the building based upon existing coverage levels of the public safety communication systems of the jurisdiction at the exterior of the building. After further testing by U.S. Mobile Communications, the City of Chandler approved vendor for radio communication systems, it was found that Basha High School, Chandler High School, and Hamilton High School do not provide adequate radio coverage for emergency responders and are not in compliance with Section 510 of IFC 2018. District will contract with Concord General Contracting via one GPA job order contract, which complies with all school procurement rules in the amount of $276,534. Scope of the project includes installation of ERRCS 700 and 880 megahertz at Basha High School, installation of ERRCS 700 megahertz at Chandler High School, and ERRCS 700 megahertz at Hamilton High School. Recommend approval of Concord General Contracting in the amount of $276,534 for the ERRCS Emergency Responder Radio Communication System installation at Basha High School, Chandler High School, and Hamilton High School.
Thank you. Could I please get a motion?
Madam President, I move that we approve the emergency responder radio communication systems installation at Basha, Chandler, and Hamilton.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Great. Are there any questions?
I have a question. Who is the subcontractor that's actually going to be installing the radio equipment?
U.S. Mobile Communications.
Mr. Olive, if I may, U.S. Mobile Radio Communications is an approved installer by the City of Chandler Fire Department. We've asked Concord General Contracting through a job order contract to do a pass-through for us because U.S. Mobile is not on any contract that we could find.
So I didn't really think about it until now, but so we have U.S. Mobile Communications going out and testing these sites and saying, yes, you need a radio system, and oh, by the way, we're going to sell you one. right?
Well, they didn't know that they were going to sell us one at the time. We were trying to comply with the inspection reports provided by the City of Chandler Fire Prevention Department.
So there's no conflict of interest with having somebody test it and then actually sell us the stuff?
Not at this time, no. Plus, they are approved by the City of Chandler. You have to use a City of Chandler approved vendor.
Okay.
But I'd also like to thank Concord, as they're doing a pass-through for this. Otherwise, we would have to go out and bid it and get further behind. But now we have an approved contractor by the City of Chandler through one of our contractors, so.
Okay.
So what are the actual problems are, in a nutshell? As I understand it, we're basically, if fire or police go onto that campus, there are dead zones there that they can't get radio reception?
That's correct.
Okay.
And you'll see at Basha High School, we're putting in 2 systems because they are in the city of Chandler, but Gilbert Fire responds most often. They're on 2 different radio systems.
Great.
So we want to make sure that both departments, when they arrive on our campus at Basha, will have radio.
Okay.
Mrs. Marsden, the City of Chandler is dispatched out of Phoenix. The town of Gilbert's dispatched out of Mesa. But we're not putting 2 systems in, really. We're just putting a module in that will allow us to communicate with both frequencies. But as Mr. Dunn said, the town of Gilbert is the primary responder to Basha High School because of the location of their firehouse.
Yeah. I've spent some time on this because I'm a architect by trade, and I've had to do this and had to deal with these people on my schools that I've built, and it's really aggravating that you can have your cell phone there and watch a video on YouTube on your cell phone, and supposedly a fireman can't get out on his radio. But they have rules and they have codes, and and Motorola gets on their board and writes the rules, and so there's not much you can do about it.
Okay.
I'm sorry. Can you break it down for me how this is an amendment by the City of Chandler, but Basha, like Gilbert, the town of Gilbert, and like response? I'm confused.
So the way fire departments are dispatched is an alarm goes out at this building. The dispatch will look at the closest available engine company that can respond. And let's say the City of Phoenix is on their way back, Phoenix Fire from somewhere. If they're closer, they will respond. So what we have is we have the town of Gilbert being dispatched out of Mesa. We have City of Chandler being dispatched out of Phoenix, and we need the ability to be able to get to the closest engine company or firehouse to dispatch. What we have here is the City of Chandler has 2 radio towers for police and fire, and the city will tell you they're not developers, but you have to develop their communication systems for them, and I think that's the rub with Mr. Olive.
Yeah.
But at this point, the fire marshal is making it an issue. The fire marshal has the ability to shut us down. The fire department has the ability to fine us. The difference between police and fire is fire code is an ordinance adopted by the city. Therefore, it's considered law. PD only has the criminal code and the civil code. So we have to comply with fire because all their rules and regulations or ordinances adopted by the municipalities. Does that help?
It does. It's just really wild. Yes, it helps.
It's a matter of you going somewhere and your cell phone drops a call. Well, fire, if they're in an emergency situation, they don't want their calls to be dropped. They want their 2 ways to communicate, especially if they're on a search and rescue in a smoke-filled building.
Thank you.
All right. If there's no other questions, all those in favor of approving Concord General Contracting for the ERRCS installation at Basha, Chandler, and Hamilton High Schools, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. That concludes our action items, and we will now move on to our information items. Our first is private day tuition expenditures, and I bet that's Mrs. Berry?
Madam
It's Dr.
President.
Gilbert, sorry, I
Madam
didn't look at
President.
my sheet.
No
I apologize.
problem. Madam President, members of the board, the list of private day tuition expenditures for the third quarter of the 2021-2022 school year is provided for your review.
Is this relatively normal expenditures for us this year
Yes.
compared to years past?
My understanding from early on this year was a little higher, but I think it has leveled off since.
Okay. Are there any other questions for Dr. Gilbert? Okay. Next is Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association High School Aviation STEM Curriculum Adoption. The CTE Air Transportation Program and CTEC Drone Operator courses. Dr. Gilbert.
Madam President, members of the board, the Aircraft Owners and Pilot Association High School Aviation STEM curriculum offers comprehensive curriculum aligned to the Common Core State Standards, Next Generation Science Standards, and CTE standards. The AOPA curriculum will be used specifically for the Career and Technical Education Air Transportation Program, which will be a part of CTEC Drone Operation course, grades 9 through 12, which is the program that will be on the Oakland campus that we've been speaking of as we're expanding CTE. Each course is turnkey set of high-quality instructional and assessment resources written by veteran teachers, curriculum professionals, pilots, and flight instructors. Teachers will access the curriculum electronically through the AOPA website. Every lesson includes everything a teacher needs for a rigorous and project-based learning experience. In accordance with ARS 15721, the curriculum will be placed on display for 60-day public review period for comments at the Melinda Romero Instructional Resource Center starting April 28, 2022. After the 60-day review period for public comment, the curriculum will be presented for approval to the governing board. I also have Lindsay Duran, our director of CTE, here if there's some questions that I can answer for you.
Thank you, Dr. Gilbert. Are there any questions? I have a couple. Number one, since this is an online program or the resources are online, when someone goes to the Instructional Resource Center, will it just be a website that they go? Is there a lot? Does the Instructional Resource Center have to log in for the individuals to, or can you do it out of the privacy of your own home?
I will have Lindsay Duran move to the mic, but yes, they will have to be logged in for. It is online, and so that we would have to assist them in getting access to it.
Yep, that's 100% correct. We have
sometimes-
all the directions ready to go, so if they walk in, myself or Evelyn Valet will be able to log them right in.
And do we know roughly the cost of this particular curriculum?
It is free.
Oh, well, that's even better.
We like free 99.
Okay, so why wasn't that in this? This is a free curriculum. I mean, okay. It starts out free, okay. And then they get you later, maybe. Anyway, are there any other questions? All right. Our next item is issues for consideration for the 2023 political agenda. This is for the Arizona School Boards Association for next year's political agenda, not this year's. They get started on it fairly early. And we will have to have a board discussion, but I am going to ask Lana Berry to go ahead and present her information that she's compiled for us.
Madam President, members of the board, the Arizona School Boards Association requests that each school district governing board review the current 2022 political agendas. If you click on that link in there, you'll see that there's the same 4 priorities, and underneath that there's multiple funding sources. And reaffirm your top 5 priorities for the top 5 priorities for the ASB Legislative Committee to consider for their June 3rd meeting. Each district may submit 2 additional priorities, so you'll have the 5 plus the 2. So tonight, we're ultimately just reviewing, and you're looking at those proposals, and then on
May, when we come back in May for our board meeting next, you will approve the agenda items and then therefore can be submitted to ASBA on May the 23rd. So last year, there's also attached on the PDF that's attached on your file is the 5 that you had recommended plus the 2 additional recommendations. And then I have given you just some to consider so that when you're looking over these over the next week or two, you can consider some of the issues that we've been talking about for a number of years. Some of them a couple of them are new or pressing, and then the rest are ones we've been discussing for years. So I'm just going to talk a little bit about the list that I gave you. As you all know, we need a permanent fix to aggregated expenditure limit. The legislature did do an override this year, but that is really critical for the future. As you all know, we are over the amount that exceeds the 50% for the aggregated expenditure limit, and so we need a constitutional fix. So that's extremely important for this next year. Expansion of Prop 123, part of the Proposition 123 had the state land trust where it gave allowed $50 million in the first 5 years when it was passed in 2016 to be funded through the state land trust, and then it expanded to $75 million for years 6 through 10. That will end in 2026, I believe it is, and so trying to continually allow for $75 million to be in our budget without it going away, so something that we need to work on to fix for the future. Number 3 is fund district additional assistance. Something we finally got restored was our capital, which is called District Additional Assistance, or DAA, D-A-A, asking to get inflation on that to increase that. The charter schools have what's called CAA, Charter School Additional Assistance, and so they get inflation on that. That's why there's a big difference between charter school funding and district funding in that area, is because they've been allowed inflation and ours has not had inflation, so something to continue to fight for. Increase in special education funding, as you know, we've been fighting for that. There was a cost study done in 2007 showing that special education was underfunded. We still have not increased it except for this past year. This is the first year we got $50 million extra in special education. Kim Marshall helps a lot in that area. We had additional funding in 5 critical areas where majority of about 60% of our students are in. So trying to continually increase the special education funding.
Mrs. Berry?
Yes.
Would you, when you're quoting these numbers of $75 million and $50 million, you're referring to statewide, not for our district?
Right, not our district. Thank you. Yes, these are all statewide.
Thank you.
Issues. Thank you. Fund building renewal and building replacement costs for districts. We've been working to try to find a formula to start the idea of replacing old buildings. We have a formula in the state for funding new construction, but there's not one for replacing old facilities. Also to continue to increase building renewal and fund it at levels that can help the entire state with the projects that are at hand. Number 6, support a poverty weight that's continually called opportunity weight. You've heard it in different fashions where the governor put it as Project Rocket. It's been identified as mostly opportunity weight, but it would be where we would be requesting that school by school, not by district, but school by school to impact schools that are in poverty. Fully fund full-day kindergarten. As you know, Arizona does not fund full-day kindergarten. We get paid for half of a student, even though almost the majority of Arizona has full-day kindergarten for all students. So that would be a huge increase to our already our maintenance and operations funds that are paying for kindergarten, so it would help offset other expenditures in our district. The potential of funding a 200-day school year. As you know, there was that opportunity years ago, and a couple school districts like Balls Elementary took advantage of that. But the problem was it didn't fund you fully at 200 days. So if you looked at that option, or if you wanted a few schools to be that, you couldn't do that. You'd only get 5% extra. It wasn't the actual 20 days difference between 180 days and 200 days. And so if you want a 200-day option, and that might not be district-wide, but it could be school-wide or a school-by-school basis, depending on needs at schools, you would need to fund that fully. So an option potentially for that in the future. Fund early childhood and preschools. As you know, the only funding for preschools is part-time for special ed students, and so a need for funding early childhood. And then another option, just gave you 10 on this. It was one I think that Laura Bruner gave to us last year, and something we've been working on too, but approved favorable election language. So the same language in there that we had last year, updating requirements associated with school district voter approved bonds and overrides to improve efficiencies and permit more accurate presentation of estimated property taxes for election purposes. These changes may include extending the maximal permissible length of overrides and revising statutorily permissible property valuations, estimating procedures for bonds and override election purposes. Sorry, some technical language, so I wanted to read that to you. But again, really difficult on bonds and overrides for people. They think we're overspending our budget related to the override, and there are some difficult pieces in there, so trying to make that more favorable to districts. So those are a number of issues. You can look at ASBA's 4 priorities and see if there's something on there that you might have a priority for that we want to address in the 5 top priorities and the 2 additional ones. They are your requests again, and once you vote on them, that will go to ASBA, and then they'll vote on that in June for next year's. It's really hard right now because we're right in the middle of our legislature trying to figure out this year's budget, and there's a number of budgets that are getting presented right now. So kind of confusing that we're in the middle of a budget process right now and the legislative process, and then what doesn't get funded this year, what are our priorities for next year? So some of these are considered.
Say there's 4 priorities from the school board?
There are. So if you look at the political agenda on the link that was attached to the board agenda, their 4 priorities are adequate and equitable funding for district schools to at least the national median per pupil in funding, improve outcomes for all students, preserve and strengthen local control, and require public accountability for taxpayer dollars spent on education. Those are the 4. That was last year's, so that was last year's, the one that you all approved. And then underneath that has multiple things. So if you take each one of those priorities, they list, 20 bullets.
Last year? Well, I didn't, I guess.
So this is the ASBA's priority, which took all of your requests in, and then they put those 4 priorities. And then, for example, underneath adequately and equitably fund district schools to at least the national median per pupil funding, there's probably 25 bullets. And those are things like, let's see here, fund full day kindergarten is underneath that. So all of those items are underneath each one. So you just have to look at that link. We said the attachment on the board docs has our political priorities for last year, or your board, I should say, political priorities. You had 5. They're inflation of DAA, fund special education, fund and allocate building renewal dollars, support poverty rate, fund full day kindergarten. It also had the favorable election language, and then continue support alternative forms of learning. So those were the 7 last year that our board sent off to ASBA. And that was attached on board docs. So the attachment was ours that we submitted, and then the link that's in the board docs is the ASBA's political agenda that was taken from those considerations last year. Does that help, Mr. Worth?
Yeah, I found it.
Okay.
Lena,
So again, today's just discussion for you.
do you know if ASBA has looked at what is now being proposed with the whole suitcase, briefcase, whatever you want to call it, that seems to, in the long run, siphon more public monies to private schools? I mean, are they looking at that at all, or is that not on the list?
So are you looking at the Great
ASBA?
Bargaining Agreement? It's called the Great Bargaining Agreement that Boyer's presentation is right now. It's the only one that's kind of officially out there right now. There's others being proposed that haven't came out officially. And then along with that, there's another bill that will be ran related to ESAs. So yes, there are both that will be presented. Because there is a $5 billion surplus right now, there is requests out there on the educational side. And then there is a legislature that's very favorable towards ESAs. So you will see a lot of language on that. And if not, we'll see it continuing in the future because there is a number of representatives who believe in that also.
So my question is, do you know if ASBA has added to their recommendations or their priorities? Because that specific one was not thrown out there before. Mm-hmm. So what does that look like right now? Or do they not?
Opposing ESAs? Like I'm assuming ASBA will come out to oppose ESAs. They always have, or they'll come and usually fight those bills. They'll play more defense versus put it as a priority to fund something. They'll probably put it as a defense or try to defend it, I'm assuming. But they could state something differently in the agenda.
And I believe like their committee hasn't formed yet. Like it forms like after we submit our legislative goals. And then it's like everybody on that committee just kind of like makes an edit to like a Word document and fights to get certain language on. So there's the potential that it could be on there after the committee
But
gets
that would be, this is for next year. I was just curious if they can modify it as they go when something new pops up that no one saw coming, right? Like,
Absolutely.
because this is a longer process, it may not be as easy to, shift left or shift right on the path when something gets thrown in the way.
Sure. I think all of us are in those negotiations currently and getting input to our legislators and to, I know we've been on the phone, Mr. Nucci and I have, and working with our lobbyists and our legislators right now. And it's very delicate right now because there's additional funding that's out there in a bill, and there's ESAs out there in a bill. And some people are saying, do not vote for any money in education if ESAs get approved, but that might hurt us too. So we're trying to figure out what's the best for education by still getting money in there, and how do we limit the impact that it might have to public education without stopping funding from coming to us. So working through those and trying to get some guidance from some of our experts out there on that, but lots of discussion on that right now. That's probably the hottest topic with everything right now is the additional funding and how can we get that in education, and then what does ESAs look like, or can it be just high poverty, and is there some limits on that, knowing that we have a House and a Senate that are very favorable to that right now.
Board Member Bruner, just for our public watching, the ESA, and Ms. Berry, if you can kind of go over that intent, just so they understand, the ESAs were first originated, and I've been around all of that time, to be able to allow public funds that go to public schools to be utilized in private institutions that where a public school could not serve. So it's specialized services, mostly in the special needs area. Just clarifying, that was the only way that the public funds could be used in private schools to educate our kids that could not be educated in, or would be better to educate them in a private setting. And so that allowed that to happen. And so over the years, that has gained great interest to be able to change that. And, unfortunately, it's lost its original intent. Is that correct?
And I think right now, special education students can access that, and I think lots of people would like to open up to every student. There's others who are trying to limit it to high poverty or specific students, not just a geographical area of low poverty. It's different pieces to try to limit that. But again, very different interests down at the legislature right now, and probably a majority who are very open to ESAs. And we do have a House and a Senate that are a majority that support that. So, and something potentially we're hearing that it will go the direction in the future next year to even have more support for ESAs. And so, we want to make sure we support. For us, money going in, there's talks of $850 million potentially going into education, and what does that look like? And then is there a possibility we can limit ESAs and put a cap on that to help public schools? But if not, what does that look like, and what are we willing to live with?
When I look at what they've done here, it's basically 3 philosophical statements and maybe one item that can be accomplished. So is this supposed to be political beliefs, or is this items that they think they can get through the legislature?
I think that they use this to help them do their own map. But I think David Evans used to say it really well, and he tried to convince them to start narrowing it down because they put almost everything on that political agenda, and it's really difficult for them. I think they actually, Dave Evans learned from you, Mr. Wirth, that we are to pick 4 topics and try to go after those because a lot of times they put so many items on here, you can't attack all of those items.
Well, 3 of these are just philosophical statements.
Right, and if you look at the line items underneath them, so I am not sure how they pick from that once they get down to June the 3rd, and they meet for a day. I believe Mrs. Love, I think, has been part of that.
Yeah,
they meet for the day. There's a number of representatives.
Process where they meet. They go line by line. It involves different districts, and some of this isn't going to necessarily apply to us, but it may apply to like a rural district or a district that does not look like Chandler, but there's kind of a fight, and this is what happens. And then we have our committee where, of course, we vote to send somebody to vote on it based off of the board values, which Mr. Evans used to go to both of them, actually, I think, every year. That was his favorite thing to do.
But I think he felt the same way, that there were so many items, it was really hard for ASBA to actually take a few and get them passed through because they had so many. It was, instead of just a
This is
few.
exactly why the School Board Association never accomplishes anything in the legislature.
I think that I look at this and, they come out with various, the ASBA comes out with, do we support this bill or do we oppose this bill on their daily governmental relations things. And I think that actually that information, whether they support or they don't support a bill, basically comes from this particular political agenda, and it has nothing to do with what they're going to be lobbying for at the legislature. It's just basically a compilation of what kind of things do we support versus what kinds of things do we oppose. And as I look through all these and see the relationship to those bills that they oppose and those that they support that are being run through the legislature, I think there's a very, very close correlation to this and those. So if we look at it, I think as a truly trying to accomplish something, I think that's we have too great expectations for them on that. But but if you're just going to be deciding whether it's to oppose or to favor a certain bill or no opinion, if it's not listed on here, they don't care about it. I think that's what we're really looking at this particular agenda about.
I would say you're spot on. It's kind of just values based, right? And it's what members want, right? And so when a particular bill comes out, they get to use this as kind of their alignment in terms of how are we going to formulate this statement and what are we going to do to support our members.
Right, but does it actually, I don't think that it actually has any true impact on the legislature.
Well, no, I think they know going in, none of this is going to get accomplished, right? I think that they know. It's just a kind of good guiding system in terms of what is our language when certain bills come, and how are we going to formulate this and give talking points to our members around this.
Mm-hmm. So I think that, they're really not lobbying. Is my...
Ish, but...
Yeah. So...
Well, this is to give you topics to look at so that we can come back and I can compose those. So if we get those back to me next week, I can help compose a list of priorities that then can be put on the agenda by if I can have them back by next Wednesday, they'll go on to the agenda
Mine now.
the following
Last
year.
year's 5 points is good.
Okay.
But we get 2 extras too.
Wednesday.
We get 2 extras.
So actually, if you can have it to me by Tuesday next week, then we can compose it and give it to Donna by Wednesday for the board agenda for May the 11th.
Perhaps circle the ones that you want and then put an A next to the ones that are the alternate or the additional ones, and get these papers back to her by Tuesday. And then she can compile something for all of us for the next meeting.
Can we also, because there was a public comment based off of this agenda item, but can we provide some clarity based off of that public comment in terms of what we're doing here for this legislative or political agenda and how that may differ from our equity statement and what we're doing in our journey? What are we at, 2025?
Yeah, soon to be 2030.
Oh, God, yeah. How that differs from what we're doing in Journey 2025. Just because I want to make sure that since it was brought up, that there's some understanding of this is what we're doing for, in terms of the ASBA and their political agenda, and everything that she brought up is on their legislative agenda currently. But I think there's a difference between what the ASBA is doing and what we're doing here in Chandler, if that makes sense.
So are you referring to an individual's public comment?
Yes, because since she brought it up and she brought up the political agenda, I think that probably needs to be addressed since it was on the agenda, and I don't want her to think that we did not hear her concerns and that we're just having a conversation and we're not addressing what she was speaking to, and that really needs to be addressed in a separate item, I guess. Yes. Perfect.
And I believe you were speaking to the state legislative agenda, correct? Not particularly this item. I'm asking you a question, yeah. You sure can. You were speaking, clarification, were you speaking to the state legislative agenda that is out that you felt was? Okay.
There's some correlation between what you're talking about, but I think that's probably, there's a lot going on, and I think maybe somebody getting with you individually too to kind of explain that, so that way you feel heard and we know how to kind of route that into the proper, not venue, but the, you know what I'm saying, item.
We can definitely get with her and address some of her concerns.
Thank you. All right, we now have our road agenda, the CUSD agenda roadmap. Our next, it's April 22nd or 27th already. Our next meeting is May 11th. We only have one meeting in May due to the graduations being at the end of the month. So I think everyone has signed up for graduations, and I believe, Donna, you'll have more information for the board, like parking passes and things like that at the next board meeting. You'll get them from the schools. Perfect. Appreciate that. Let's see. Yeah, we have one meeting before the end of the school year, so that's it. Man, this has gone fast. Mr. Narducci, what you have some
For us,
comments?
there's never an end of a school year. One rolls right into the other.
Yeah.
Just a few things. 80 of our CUSD students from the class of 2022 earned a Fine Arts Diploma Seal. This is fantastic as it's only our second year participating. The Arizona State Seal of Arts Proficiency is awarded to students who have demonstrated high levels of proficiency and commitment to the Arizona arts education standards through personal expression and creative experiences. Students focus on one or more artistic disciplines, visual arts, theater, music, dance, and media arts. We appreciate the ongoing support of the Sun Lakes Rotary, who honored Jennifer Keys, our geometry and algebra teacher from Basha High School, as Teacher of the Month of April. And they do a real nice celebration there and make our teachers feel valued, and they also leave with a little cash award as well. Galveston Elementary hosted Envision, Touch a Truck, and Job Fair with community partners. Kids loved the chance to interact with a variety of trucks, and residents learned about career opportunities and also discussed the neighborhood survey results. It was a great community event with the Chandler Police Department and the city of Chandler out there in full force. And that was awesome for that community event to be recognized at Galveston Elementary. I had the opportunity this last weekend on Saturday to attend the National Football Foundation Valley of the Sun chapter, who recognized two of our student athletes at a Luncheons Award celebration this past Saturday. Dawson Hubbard of Hamilton High School and Bryce Chen made the Scholar Athlete team and were honored that day. And these kids are just phenomenal. They were awarded with probably about 25 other students that were awarded not only from high school but also at the college level. You did hear in the presentation today about Tarwater Elementary second grader Luke, who wanted to fundraise money for the Kansas City Chiefs Patrick Mahomes nonprofit. And again, just a great example of a teacher working with the students, say, hey, let's just do it now. And the student raised that money. I did ask if Patrick sent anything to him, so I think our next thing should be a little campaign to get Patrick to send him a football or jersey or something for his efforts, which would be great. So we'll have to reach out on that. Unless anybody in the audience knows Patrick, that'd be a great little way to pay forward the efforts. Perry High School fine arts teacher Lorena D. Cristofaro competed in the Master Chef Latinos program. She was selected among thousands of applicants to fly to Mexico City to be in a live cooking casting competition. And a lot of us have seen those Survivor types of things. Every episode consisted of a cooking challenge to select who was saved from elimination. She made it to the top 6 and was a favorite. And congratulations, Lorena. We learned a lot more about her and how interesting our teachers are and how they inspire students. If you want to see the episodes, they can be seen on YouTube under Master Chef Latinos 2022. So if you're doing nothing after the night's meeting, catch that. Our teachers and staff appreciate it when former students reach out to show appreciation. This happened at Hamilton High recently when 2 former Hamilton High students, Channing Chaston and Niall Dunn, current Phoenix Rising pro soccer team members, recently visited Hamilton and surprised teachers David Belfort and Heather Hackett with tickets to an upcoming game for having a positive and meaningful influence on them while they were at Hamilton. It means so much to our teachers, staff, and administrators when former students reach out, and they were able to do that in front of other students who cheered on those teachers as well. And then finally, today is National Administrative Assistance Day, which provides us a chance to thank our own Donna Nye, who's right behind us here, for her ongoing leadership, keeping the school board and myself organized. We recognized Donna as our Apple Achievement Award winner at the Center of the Arts last Wednesday, and we can't thank her enough. We thank all of those individuals at our schools who really help run the schools efficiently and who work directly with the public and take care of the needs of our staff. So Donna, just a little something for board members for you. And we know there's something else on your desk that you'll enjoy for the rest of this week as well. We'd like to thank all of our parent, volunteer, students, and staff for doing an amazing job. We had an honor to celebrate with many of the Chandler Center for the Arts last week for our annual night of recognition. Congratulations to all the award winners and to every one of you who makes a positive difference in the lives of our children. Also, just want to remind everybody that coming up is Teacher Appreciation Week, May 2nd through the 7th, I believe. And also, I want to include in that many of our schools will be doing things at their sites. Our principals and administrators, PTOs, and boosters have been very excited about celebrating our staff, especially this year. It's been a little harder year. Last year was even a little tougher too, and they held strong. And also want to include our substitute teachers in that recognition as well. They're ones that came in when we were short and just did a phenomenal job for us. And so take some time during that week to recognize our great, talented staffs and our substitute teachers. They deserve it, and they're just among the best. And so that is the 2nd through the 7th. And for our schools, we'll have some goodies out there for you from administration and the board, just to show our thanks as well for all that you do. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Narducci. Do any board members have any comments they'd like to make? Ms. Love?
Just a quick thank you to Donna, and I hope you like coffee, lots of it.
Yes, I'll agree with it. Thank you very much for all you do for us and keeping us informed and on task. So thank you so much.
It's a challenge with me.
So, anyone else? Mr. Olive? No? Okay. Right. Well, we'll see you in 2 weeks, and thank you for coming this evening. Meeting is adjourned.